Morning, everybody. Beautiful day in the Ozarks. Got Ollie out chasing squirrels. Uh, his favorite time of the year for sure. Just coming on here to talk about dog nutrition from puppy stage on up. So, as a certified nutritionist, I guess I gotta throw that in there for dogs. When you get a new puppy, they need to eat 3 times a day, and it's very important that you start them. The breeder or whoever's feeding them will probably have them on some kind of junk kibble, and they'll give you a little baggie of it to take home with you. That's when you want to start mixing the food in that you want to use. Now, I'm not a fan of kibble. You need to do some research on what kibble is, where the meat comes from, how it's made, and the fads like the grain-free kibble and all that stuff. You want to avoid that, especially if you have a smaller dog. It's been linked to heart issues and stuff like that, different health issues, allergies, etc. So when you get a puppy, start considering feeding them a raw diet. There's plenty of recipes online, and they're pretty legit recipes. You just got to make sure that if you're not feeding, you're doing a barf diet, which includes bones. If you're not including bones, then you have to have some sort of calcium, and you could buy that at the store in powder form and throw that into your mixture. That's very, very important. Plus the vitamins, you can get that online. You can go to my channel, and I believe I got the type of vitamins I use. It's a liquid canine vitamin. You just throw a couple capfuls in there. And in the dog world, the way the pack works is the pack leader or whoever is in heat will get the intestinal part of the animal, liver, stuff like that, heart. And you kind of want to grind that up. Well, you want to grind that up and put that in there too, or you can leave it whole. And you got to include your greens, because the dogs don't really, even though they're not vegetarians, they do require greens in some kind of spinach form, because whatever the herbivore, whatever they're ingesting, whatever is in the stomach contents and all that, that's how they get their greens. And so when you get a puppy, you kind of want to get a good recipe going and keep them on it. It don't have to be bland, but man, my general rule is I'm not going to eat dog food, because I'm not a big intestine fan. But you want to make it to something that you can eat, right? That's not going to make you sick. And there's 2 thoughts on that. Like I don't do a completely raw diet. I do cook like the hamburger and the meat. I put it in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350 and just kind of brown it a little bit. But I don't want to cook the nutrition out of it. And then you mix all that, and then for puppies, like I'll take some good, Hills has a pretty decent small puppy kibble that you can throw in there for their teeth. It has a little crunch to it, and that way, if you ever run out of food that you've made, then they'll kind of switch over to kibble for a little bit. But that's the routine you want. If you got a big dog, I used to make homemade food for big dogs, but it's just a lot. So you need to, hopefully you're near a butcher or something like that. You can get your meat for free and try and get things on the on the cheap, because it can get expensive, especially if you got a 100-pound dog, or even 75. 50-pound dog will eat a lot, but these little guys, they get a cup in the morning, cup in the afternoon. But back to puppies. Puppies will eat 3 times a day, and it's usually half a cup. If they're a small breed like a Chihuahua or something like that, or a toy breed, you could probably skimp down to a quarter cup 3 times a day. And when they're feeding, if they don't eat, give them about, they should gobble it down, is my point. Pick it up and put it away for later, and then include it later on. But don't get in the habit of like leaving freestanding bowls of food around, because they'll become picky eaters. They'll know the food is there whenever they want it. A hungry dog, that's what you want. You don't want a sluggish, fat dog. They're not designed to be like that. It causes health problems. Knee, heart, the same stuff that humans get, diabetes, all that kind of stuff. So you want to keep your dog hungry, and you want them to gobble that food up like a lab. That's what I like about labs. They're going to eat. When it's time to eat, they eat, and they eat fast. That's why they got those bowls, to slow some dogs down. So puppies eat 3 times a day. Now, once your dog gets up to about 18 months old and they're maturing, then you can switch them off to any kind of puppy food and start feeding them twice a day. Same concept applies. Now, what made me think of this today is I'm fasting because I have a medical appointment coming up, and so I have to fast for 3 days, and I'm giving blood today. And I've fasted in the past a lot, and I used to do like 7-day fast, and usually after the second day the hunger goes away, the third day you got all kinds of energy, the fourth day is just phenomenal, you're focused, and then the fifth day you kind of get yourself back on a solid food by some kind of broth or something like that. So if you ever notice, when a dog gets sick, they will fast automatically. That's just part of their mechanism to cope with whatever ailments they have. So they don't need to eat twice a day. If your dog is not eating, I see this a lot on some of the pages I go on Facebook. That's another reason that you see people like, help, my dog won't eat. Well, that's because you probably have been possibly feeding them table scraps, chicken and rice, which is not bad for them, but it's not a good diet. They need to have all that other stuff that I talked about earlier. If they have a sour stomach or something, you kind of want to consider like a probiotic, prebiotic. Your dog shouldn't be gassy, and their stool should be firm. So don't be too alarmed. And the correct answer to that is, if you remove the dog's food for a couple days and then keep putting it back down there, eventually they will eat once they start feeling better, or they become hungry again. So that's pretty much it. It's a quick video. Well, maybe not. 8 minutes, 9 minutes. So you can try to keep about 10 minutes. But that's pretty much it. Always consult your veterinarian. A holistic vet can get you on the right path for a good balanced nutritional diet for your dog, even the type breed your dog is. Like Ollie, he's a squirrel dog. He don't care too much about fish, so I'm not gonna put salmon in, even though I'd like to. I do add fish oil for his coat into his mixture, but just play with it. It's fun. You could do the same thing with treats, with dog biscuits and pumpkin, and it's just a good way to be totally involved in your dog's nutrition. It's kind of sad what's going on in the human world. Everybody's in such a hurry, fast food, and the stuff we eat nowadays, it's fake meat, so kind of be involved in what your dog is consuming, and they will be a lot healthier. Their coats will be shinier, their teeth, will be better. Dental health is a big part. If you've ever had an old dog that's been fed canned food, canned food is the worst thing you can give your dog. Trust me, it's all like just fat and nasty. It's just nasty, and it's not good. And you know, whenever I do group lessons, this is the last point I want to make. Whenever I do group lessons, you can always tell when people are feeding like Beneful, that colorful food with the sweeteners in it and all that. It looks like they're pooping crayons, and they poop a lot. Your dog should eat and maybe poop once or twice a day. You know, it shouldn't be a constant thing. So there's a lot of benefits to a healthy diet with your dog. So as you chase the squirrels, you all have a nice day and give it a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised and happy. So will your dog.